I'm pretty sure this is going to work now, but we'll see if it doesn't. Who knows? No, I do know. This will work this time. I messed up last time because I recorded the whole thing, and I forgot to set up the mic. It's just the little things in life, you know. But hey, we keep learning, we keep developing, we keep getting better. Get strong to protect your friends. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to start recording now. Let's do this. What do you say? So thanks for looking at my video. I'm Ape of the Frontal. It's a knockoff of George of the Jungle. I was originally going to be called Monkey Teach, Monkey Learn, but it's kind of stupid because monkeys have tails and we're primates, and yeah, I just couldn't do it. Like, it sounds good, Monkey Teach, Monkey Learn, but I can't do it anymore. So this is Ape of the Frontal, Ape Academy, whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. I have like minimal math experience, only 1 year mechanical engineering really, and with that experience I barely learned anything in math and physics, and that's the topic that I want to talk about is math and physics. But I have very minimal like critical thinking about those topics throughout college and public school. I was able to do it well. I just didn't really know why things worked, and yeah, I got into it because I was going through physics classes, learning about all these amazing equations, solving all these amazing problems, and not really understanding how exactly these people were able to do stuff like that. How is it possible to know like the different gravitational pulls of different fucking planets, all this sort of stuff. And then you're just given the equation on how to figure it out, like it's some like magical thing that somebody just came up with on their own spontaneously. Just there it is. And it just really struck me, and I wanted to, and I held on to that, and I want to address it and figure it out myself. And so the reason why I'm making these videos is is to actually figure this out myself and be able to know it well enough to explain it to an audience that's coherent. I don't know how to incorporate this quote. It sounded good at the time, but I don't know how to incorporate it. I just like it. Nature to be commanded must be obeyed. And to obey nature, you have to really understand it. And what better understanding than through physics? Seeing nature and expressing it numerically in order to accurately, powerfully predict the future and what will happen for you. So what's in it for you? Not for me, but for you in particular. I anticipate if you watch my videos, you'll be able to understand the historical context better on how these equations came to be, and you'll be able to manipulate these hard examples or questions or real life problems and be able to figure shit out better, or even eventually create new things independently within the field of physics. Be able to make an equation that's new from what you've observed. I heard from I added this part, 2 = 2 is always right, but distance is equal to rate times time is a concept that needs to be tied to reality and verified to be true. I put this in because I was talking to a fellow nurse. I also have a degree in a BSN. I can't do that. I need to do it this way. A BSN degree. And I was talking to a nurse who kind of liked math. And he was like astounded that I would be critically thinking about mathematics and equations because he thought that they were just true in and of themselves. And I wanted to challenge that kind of underlying assumption that it is obviously 100% true. And because the only thing that I would say is the number 2 is different from a concept like distance or rate or time. That's what these are, if you're not aware. Distance, the concept of distance takes a process to understand what distance is, what rate is, and what time is in general. But the number 2 is always the number 2. And so if you're dealing with more higher level concepts, we need to have a method of non-contradictory identification in order to keep in reality with what these things are. And so that's what I kind of want to address as well with you guys. I'll be focusing in future videos what was observed in nature, what was the context of these people's understandings. It's like, what did they already know? Is this why they experimented in this way? Because they only knew this, that, or the other? What new concepts were made after they made these observations and these experiments? And what ideas flowed necessarily from these new concepts? And how were they built up over time to what it is now? That's what I'm focusing on. With more historical context, you'll be able to understand things better in a more deeper way and be more confident in weird situations when you have to figure something out mathematically. I want to be able to understand things well enough to be able to verbalize it well and not just have hazy understandings of what things are, but to be more accountable with the things that I know. I previously made a video, but I'm still very, very new at this, so I kind of messed it up. But basically, the next step in this presentation, I wanted to talk about an example of how I would explain an equation or a concept to you guys with the example of distance is equal to rate times time. In general, what I'll be doing is figuring out with you guys what each portion means and why. I'm just using a very simple term just to explain what's going on. Distance is equal to rate times time. What does that mean? Distance traveled will be your rate multiplied or times a unit of time. And what exactly is rate? Rate is a concept relating to distance per time. And what's per? Per is for each or for every. And another example you hear a lot is percent. Per for every 100. A cent is 100. So when you hear miles per hour, you're hearing miles for every hour that's passed. And it's just a economic way of explaining things. And the problem is, a lot of the instances that I've encountered, we use the economic versions of words, but not actually knowing what it's tied to, what the concept relates to exactly. And so you kind of know it, but you honestly don't really know it that well. And it's just terrible. And I want to avoid that at all costs. You know, if you have any questions at all that are honest questions that a reasonable person would actually ask, I am more than willing to help answer that question in the best of my capabilities. And if not, I can refer you to an outside source. Yeah, but I'm all about correction, improvement, all the rest. I don't even care. You know, it's just like, if your stuff sucks, I want to know about it, you know? And if it's an honest criticism, then I'm thankful for it, you know what I mean? And if it's a dishonest criticism, then I'm just going to not acknowledge it and just keep moving on with my life. But anyway, that's a side tangent. With this, I keep going on as an example. Distance traveled will be a length based on your distance traveled for each unit of time. The concept of rate is valid. It is a combination of distance and time. One thing goes further in time than other in distance. I abstract out specific distances or rates and assign symbols to them. So just a generalized rate, a generalized time, and then combine them numerically to find a specific distance from that vantage point. And I clarify a little bit with what a concept is. It's a mental integration combination where it becomes a whole. That's what an integration is. A concept is a mental integration of two or more units. A unit is like one thing separated from another thing that you observe with your senses. I feel rough, I feel smooth. That's 2 units. Just all sorts of things like that. 2 or more units isolated out by a process of abstraction. So generalized softness, generalized roughness, and united by a specific definition. That's kind of roughly what I'll be talking about with most of these equations, if I haven't talked about it already. I won't be going like too far into some of them. If I've already done so in the past, I could just refer you to previous videos that I've made, if I ever make them. This video, I kid you not, it took me like 8 tries. I'm trying so hard to make a decent video that's not garbage, and it's rough. I respect all these YouTubers who crank out all these videos that are high quality. It's incredible what people can do. I swear it is. It makes me really respect it. But anyway, and now that we have like a concept of rate, we can then make another integration, a new concept formation, when you observe 2 differences in rate. Rate that goes faster, rate that changes in rate, and that could be called a new concept, which is acceleration. And it just keeps building from there, the concept formation. I'm not really as enthusiastic in this second time around, but you kind of get what I'm talking about. And I've been researching a little bit on past physicists, and I've been seeing or noting a trend on what has been good about them, what admirable qualities they had in the past, and what things weren't as good. And the thing that I want to contribute is to enhance progression, progress, and not necessarily enhance just working hard for the sake of working hard. Just because you're working hard doesn't mean you're making a lot of progress. And just because things are hard doesn't mean that it's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about actually making stuff happen efficiently. I made a list from 1 to 9 about successful instances of induction with physics and what they did. So for number 1, they not only did thought experiments, but experimented in reality. They went outside of their minds into what they've observed. They knew specific entities act in specific ways each and every time. One cause leads to one effect, and if it appears not so, you need to be more focused in your investigation. They found relevant factors, the things that directly affected the entities that they're experimenting on, using the context of what they know. And understanding the importance of context is one of the main reasons why I'm trying to understand the history of physics and of mathematics in order to make better experimentations. When they made these experiments, they created new valid concepts that led to new possible inductions. And these concepts can be reduced to first level generalizations. That's what makes a concept valid. And what a first level generalization is a very first generalization, all statement, induction. For an example, I open my eyes, then I see. That's probably the best example I could think of first level generalization. What he used in his video was I push the ball and it rolls. That's what he used. But there may be a few more understandings of all statements, like I reach out and my hand moves. I can't really put a word to reaching out, but you kind of understand what I mean. Like, these first level generalizations are made, and then new information is built upon them from there. After these successful physicists made these valid concepts, they define them in numeric terms, like distance, time, and rate. They're all numeric. And they extract numeric information from their experiments. They make mathematical formulas to define what these things are in order to be able to make even more integrations that are numeric. And it's really cool. And it gives it, as I wrote here, it adds a degree of power and certainty to our knowledge. We have a more precise, accurate reproducibility. Did I spell that wrong? Oh, I did. But you understand what I'm saying. We have a more precise reproducibility of our knowledge of nature. And so we can do even more, and we have even more power, and we can do amazing things from that. So in conclusion, as my voice is kind of fading into nothing, as I do this the second time of many, if you like this topic and you like hearing my interpretation and ideas, or if you think it's just generally interesting, obviously, if you want to keep watching these videos, keep watching them. I'm going to keep working on making them, and I'll progressively get better at making them over time. At least that's the dream. Keep watching. Thank you. Bye.